One day I got a phone call and they said, "It's the White House calling." And I said, "The White House?" And it was George H.W. Bush's people, and they asked if I would like to photograph Barbara Bush. And I said, of course. And it was so surreal because we had the Secret Service, they do a background check on you. You get kind of scared when that happens. And so that led to other politicians, and it just kind of opened the door to me photographing the 5 different presidents and the who's who of Hollywood and the who's who of politics. I feel in a lot of ways like Forrest Gump. How did this happen? My name is Kim Ju, and I started Kim Ju Photography in 1976. I was the first of 3 boys, and 3 of us were taught by my mother that children should be seen and not heard. And so I thought anything I said was stupid, so I consequently became very shy and introverted. I did not speak to people very much. And so I grew up with very low self-esteem, and the only thing that kind of saved me was photography. I got my first camera with a friend of mine who was on the yearbook staff, and he helped me go to Kurt's Camera Corral on Central and pick up a camera, and it was a Pentax Spotmatic camera. My classmates told me ever since I got that camera that they didn't recognize me without it because I carried it with me everywhere I went. It was magical to me watching the images come up from nowhere and just all of a sudden magically appear. And I just thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and I was addicted to it. I decided to go to photography school. It was called the Photography Institute of America. The reason I picked that school was they had a catalog and they made photography look very glamorous, and it opened my eyes to a whole nother world when I went there. After I graduated from school, I drove straight from Atlanta to Albuquerque. Within 24 hours, I was ready to come home, and I could not find a job in photography. I ended up working in my father's restaurant, and oddly enough, one of the waitresses at my father's restaurant, her husband had a lithography workshop, and one of his clients was R.C. Gorman. And she asked me at the time, "Would you like to photograph R.C. Gorman?" And I jumped at the chance, and it was one of the first celebrities that I got to photograph. And that job led me to Tamarind Institute, and I was photographing all these famous artists that I had never heard of, like François Gillot, who was the mistress of Pablo Picasso, and Louise Nevelson, big New York sculptor. And then I also got a big break by getting a job with Albuquerque Magazine. It got me good exposure in the community and got our work out there and the name out there. The biggest obstacles when you first start out in business, it all starts with marketing and making sure you understand how to get business through the door. We were lucky in that we did have good word of mouth, but as we grew and you have more staff to employ, then you have to know how to stay busy. I think part of it was instinctual and understanding, how would I want to be photographed? What is it that I'm looking for as a customer? And self-esteem was a big part of what the drive behind our photography. And it's kind of a core purpose for what we do. If there was one secret to our success as a photography studio, it's having that mission in life and a purpose for what we do. And so this saying came about, "Kim Ju, we bring out the best in you." And we thought, wow. And so we started using it, and to this day, we use it underneath everything we do. We've been in business for 44 years now, and my greatest reward is not necessarily the finished product, it's the process when I am actually photographing them and seeing people perk up and all of a sudden putting a sparkle in their eyes and feeling good about themselves. And that's its own reward in itself. In a lot of ways, the camera is kind of like a shield for me. I feel like I'm protected and I can say things that I normally wouldn't say to people. so I can get to know them and hopefully get a little window to their souls and try to reveal a part of them that they might not normally reveal to the world. It's a magical thing, the camera is.